Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here again to unpack compelling stories and extract insights that, help us understand the world a little better. Today, we're examining a journey that our source material describes as a true testament to the power of public service and grassroots connection right here in India.
Yeah, our focus for this deep dive is the, remarkable journey and the significant achievements of an Indian member of parliament.
hmm
We're going to be unpacking insights from it's really captivating cover story. It's titled Naresh Mhaske, From Slum to Sansad Ratna in Maiden Term, and it's authored by Primepoint Srinivasan and Priyadharshini Rahul, featured in the June 2025 edition of the eMagazine PreSense.
Exactly. And our mission today really is to distill how a deep, consistent grassroots connection, that unwavering dedication, how that can translate into, significant political impact, especially when you see how a leader's humble background can profoundly shape their vision and really drive them towards impactful public service. Okay, so to really understand Sri Naresh Mhaske's rise, we have to go back to the beginning, right? His origins. It's a journey forged in circumstances that honestly might have broken others, but instead became the very crucible of his dedication. He's a first-term member of parliament for Thane. That in itself is quite extraordinary when you look at his path.
It really is.
He started with student activism in the Bharatiya Vidyarthi Sena. That's a youth wing often seen as a kind of training ground for future political leaders. Then he quite rapidly ascended through civic leadership, becoming the mayor of Thane, before finally entering the Lok Sabha, India's lower house of parliament, just back in 2024. But it sounds like his journey didn't exactly start with these grand political ambitions, at least from what the article suggests. What were the early triggers? Was there like a specific moment or just an underlying passion that drew him into politics?
Well, it's fascinating because his entry into active politics seems to have begun quite organically. While he was in college, he just instinctively started helping fellow students, resolve their everyday problems. Small things, maybe big things to them. And this natural inclination to serve, it led him directly into the Bharatiya Vidyarthi Sena. But what truly became his lifelong inspiration, his guiding force, he says, was Dharmavir Anand Dihe Sahib.
Dihe Sahib.
Yeah, and Dharmavir itself is an honorific, right? That means champion of righteousness, which apparently perfectly describes Dihe Sahib. He was known as this tireless champion for Thane's citizens, and his dedication, it deeply influenced Malmas.
And here's where his personal background really comes into sharp focus, isn't it?
Absolutely. The source really highlights this. He grew up in a slum. I mean, just try to imagine living in a place where the absolute basics, water, electricity, decent roads, drainage, toilets, health facilities, just cleanliness were daily struggles, not things you took for granted.
Yeah, unimaginable for many.
Exactly. And what's truly insightful here is how this personal experience wasn't just like a motivator. It became his blueprint. His early struggles weren't just hardships. They gave him this immediate, really tangible understanding of his constituents' most urgent needs. It allowed him to prioritize and connect with an authenticity that's, frankly, incredibly rare in politics sometimes.
So he didn't just sympathize.
No, he knew the problems firsthand. And that led him to, lead protests on behalf of local people, students, turning that lived experience directly into action.
Right. But I imagine his journey wasn't exactly smooth sailing. Politics rarely is. What were some of the big hurdles he faced in such a competitive political landscape, and how did he navigate them?
Well, the article highlights constant opposition from rival parties, which is, pretty standard. But some of these adversaries it mentions even had criminal backgrounds. Others possessed immense wealth or, inherited political influence. And they were, as the source puts it, relentlessly keen to criticize and target him. Yeah, it's a common challenge in Indian politics, unfortunately, where these personal attacks can often just overshadow actual policy debates.
That sounds incredibly daunting. I mean, how does someone keep their resolve against such powerful adversaries, that kind of intense pressure?
That's the crucial part, right? If we connect this to the bigger picture, his method for overcoming these challenges is really key. The source emphasizes he just never allowed fear or discouragement to take hold. Not easy, I'm sure.
Definitely not.
Instead, he worked with this unwavering dedication, this consistency, always remaining closely connected to the citizens. And this wasn't just about showing up for rallies. It involved patiently addressing their specific problems, maybe navigating bureaucratic hurdles for ration cards, or intervening in local disputes, things that matter day to day.
Real practical help.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And consistently forging strong ties with cultural groups, social organizations right across his constituency. This active approach, staying totally focused, maintaining that constant public contact, working tirelessly It's a powerful lesson in political resilience.
Yeah.
It's really about building trust, like brick by brick through tangible, consistent action day after day after day.
And the result of that deep grassroots rapport is just, well, it's right there in the numbers.
Yeah.
He earned an incredible 7,034,000 votes in the election.
Huge numbers.
That really says a lot about the community's trust in him, doesn't it? It seems to stem directly from his choice to work like a common karyakarta, a dedicated grassroots worker, instead of trying to project himself as some, distant, larger-than-life leader.
Absolutely. That authenticity clearly resonated.
So that extraordinary vote count, it speaks volumes about the trust he built on the ground. But how did that immediate, deep connection translate into actual impact once he reached Parliament, especially in his very first term?
Well, the source highlights something pretty remarkable here. Despite only about a year having passed since his election, he's already secured the coveted Sansad Ratna Award for 2025.
Wow. In his first year.
In his first year. This is a highly prestigious award given for prolific parliamentary interventions and tireless constituency work. It's an extraordinary achievement for any MP, let alone a first-timer.
Okay, so what specific contributions led to such rapid recognition? What was he doing?
Well, according to the article, he's been incredibly active. It notes he's raised numerous important issues in Parliament. He's especially focused on the people's long-pending railway demands in his constituency. And in a place like Thane, railways are critical.
Lifeline for many.
Absolutely. We're talking crucial infrastructure issues, things like the proposed elevated corridor in Thane West or the long-awaited quadrupling of lines out to Kalyan. These directly impact thousands, millions maybe, of daily commuters. And importantly, he's not just raising them once and forgetting about it. He's pursuing them with sustained follow-up, which, is key to getting anything done.
Persistence pays off. Exactly. And it's worth remembering his constituency, Thane Lok Sabha. It's entirely urban. Covers Thane, Navi Mumbai, Mira Bhayandar. So he really has to concentrate on these complex municipal issues while maintaining that constant dialogue with residents to understand and address their concerns effectively.
This raises a really important question, I think. How does an MP balance their party responsibilities? Because they are elected on a party ticket with the immediate welfare of their voters. And, maybe more fundamentally, what truly keeps them motivated amidst all the pressures of parliamentary life and constituency demands?
That's a great question.
Mhaske's approach, at least as it's described in the article, seems to provide a pretty clear answer. He states that although, yes, he's elected on a party ticket, his primary focus remains maintaining that direct personal contact with constituents.
Staying grounded.
Right. He prioritizes solving their problems, fulfilling promises made, just staying accessible, simple in concept, hard in practice. And he finds continuous motivation, he says, in actually witnessing the positive results of his efforts, seeing the impact. So this model of direct engagement and visible impact seems absolutely central to his sustained drive and, well, his strong positive image among voters.
And it really sounds like receiving that Sansad Ratna Award just reinforced all of that for him.
Oh, definitely.
The article says he was clearly delighted to receive it, especially in his very first year. I mean, who wouldn't be? It strengthened his positive image among voters, sure, but it also really boosted his own confidence,
That validation matters.
It absolutely does. And it has undoubtedly motivated him, the article suggests, to work even harder, to really seize those often limited parliamentary speaking times to champion people's rights and issues. It's like a powerful feedback loop, isn't it? Hard work leads to recognition, which then fuels even greater dedication.
Beautifully.
So let's delve a bit deeper now into the values and principles that guided him on this journey towards the Sansad Ratna Award. He seems to put a lot of emphasis on consistency, honesty, and prioritizing ordinary citizens. And as we already discussed, he consistently reiterates his approach. He never tried to project himself as a big leader, right? Instead, he worked as a common karyakarta, that dedicated grassroots worker, believing that this very approach is what earned him the community's unwavering trust.
Absolutely. What truly seems to have underpinned his journey, the very bedrock of his success, according to this source, were principles like, radical consistency, just showing up day after day, year after year. Also, uncompromising honesty and this unwavering commitment to putting the ordinary citizen's needs before everything else.
That consistency is huge.
It is. And it's also fascinating how his commerce background seems to have shaped his approach to policy making. It's an interesting angle. He believes education equips individuals to, study precedent, understand policy intricacies, and act with a disciplined mindset, which, he argues, undeniably improves parliamentary performance. Makes sense.
Yeah, a structured way of thinking.
Exactly. He's a strong advocate for higher learning, recognizing the diversity of educational backgrounds, not just law or politics, but commerce, science, arts. It truly enhances debate and decision-making in Parliament. It speaks to this idea that a broad range of experiences, including academic ones, can really strengthen governance overall.
That's a really interesting point about diverse backgrounds. Now, finally, what valuable advice does he offer, specifically for young people and for women who might aspire to enter politics and create meaningful change? Okay, so for young citizens, his message seems clear and quite direct. More should step forward, get involved. He sees politics as this powerful, really essential platform for public service. He believes that the greater the number of educated, committed youth participating, the better the changes we can actually bring for society. It's not just about complaining from the sidelines.
Active participation.
Right. He also believes this helps curb the commercialization of politics, which is a concern, and ultimately strengthens democracy itself. It's really a call for ethical, committed engagement from the next generation.
And what about for women?
For women, his advice is equally insightful, maybe even more empowering, and very pointed, actually.
Right.
He absolutely welcomes women into politics, he says, but there's a crucial caveat.
Okay.
They must not become mere figureheads. He highlights that sometimes women enter maybe through reservation quotas, but then they remain controlled or sort of managed by others, maybe male relatives or party figures.
Right, the proxy issue.
Exactly. He strongly emphasizes they should come forward with their own ideas, have independence in their thoughts, and absolutely refuse to be managed like puppets. It's a powerful call for genuine, independent leadership from women, not just, token representation.
Very strong message there.
Definitely. So, in summing up this deep dive, we've really seen how Shri Naresh Mhaske's journey, starting from a slum, grounded in student activism, fueled by this unwavering commitment to grassroots issues, how all that has propelled him to significant parliamentary recognition, culminating in that prestigious Sansad Ratna award, remarkably, in his maiden term. It's quite a narrative of resilience, direct engagement, and pure dedication.
Yeah, I think what we really take away from this story is the profound impact a leader can have when they remain deeply, authentically connected to the pulse of ordinary citizens, prioritizing their problems day in, day out, and demonstrating that true political power stems not just from votes cast on one day, but from trust built over time, tireless dedication, and a consistent commitment to working for the people, rather than just, leading them from some distant pedestal.
It's a powerful story, and it truly highlights that sometimes the most significant changes, the most impactful leadership can come from those who start with the simplest, most fundamental missions, just helping their fellow citizens with their everyday problems. It's a potent reminder that genuine public service often begins right there at the ground level, built on those authentic human connections.
Absolutely.
So for you listening, we encourage you to reflect. How do stories like this, stories of leaders rising from humble beginnings but staying deeply connected to their roots, how do they influence your understanding of what effective governance and public service really mean in today's complex world?
And maybe consider how these core principles, we talked about consistency, that uncompromising honesty, prioritizing the common person, how might they be applied in any sphere of leadership, beyond just politics, I mean? How could you use them to build trust and achieve impactful change in your own life, or perhaps your own community? Something to think about.